All right, all right. Greetings and in Lakesh. Welcome, welcome, welcome to our phenomenal webinar. Pardon the slight delay. Just making sure everyone who wants to get on can get on. So I trust that everyone can hear me clearly. So let's go ahead and just do a quick sound check to make sure I'm being heard precisely. Let's see. Just indicate in the chat if you can hear me well. All right. Everybody hearing me? Let's see. Yes. Okay. Wonderful. All right. I want to welcome everyone to this incredible opportunity to really take advantage of this incredible thought process to be able to put ourselves in a position to access deeper dimensions of our mind. And so I want to welcome you to accessing. I want you to think about being able to access the fourth dimensional mind through natural time. That's what we're doing here, and it is incredible. Am I being heard? Okay. We have one person who can't hear well. I'm gonna make sure everyone can hear. Looks like Sean can't hear. Okay. Okay, so Leah can't hear. I hear. Okay, some can hear, some can't. So maybe disconnect and come back on board. But I'm telling you, I've been really anticipating sharing this powerful information with you. And just to tell you a little bit about my story, my name is Neb Taharka Kanishkawak. And about 7 or 8 years ago, I was introduced to the law of time and what we call the hollow mind perceiver. And I'm going to explain a lot of that this session. But what I realized when I started studying, the law of time was giving me an idea of the power of nature and how synchronicity worked in our favor. So it really took the concept as a woman or as a man thinketh in his or her heart, then so is he or she. And when I thought about it, I said, wow, this is very interesting. At the time, I was doing brain balancing with Dr. Jewel Pookrum. Some of you may know her. And it was a phenomenal program for me because I just advanced very rapidly. The program for balancing the left and right hemisphere of the brain, the whole idea that I was shown through focusing on sacred geometry that it could help increase the neurological activity in my brain. Now, according to what I was shared with and I was taught in my research, the more neurological activity, the more intelligence that we can access. Okay. And so I said, wow, I want to be more intelligent, right? I want to balance the emotional right and the spiritual right with the logical left. And I want to be able to move things with my mind and those type of things. But what ended up happening was something phenomenal. While I was doing it, I said, if I'm going to create more neurons, I need to focus on something that's different than what society teaches. This was 7, almost 8 years ago. And I would say 8 years ago, October the 10th, 2015. And so what happened was something that's astronomical. I tell this story sometime and I'm still blown away by it. While I was doing that process and I was studying the law of time, which really is about the fourth dimension, we're going to talk a little bit about that today. And I started studying the whole mind and what it was and how it worked, which introduced me to the fifth dimension, energy and light. As I was focusing, I was able to advance on a number of fronts. For example, I started being able to decode hieroglyphs. I started to get downloads. I started to be able to consume and process large amounts of data as well. And I'm telling you, I've been blown away ever since with being able to do so much. And that was 8 years ago. So as I began to teach, I said the best way for me to learn this is to teach it. So I began to teach at the Jewel University. Some of you may have heard me teach in Mimic, which I am a co-founder of. And now we've started this synchronistic human school of evolution. And I started to really dive deeper and deeper and deeper into the mind. And I discovered some things I didn't discover while I was studying religion, metaphysics, quantum physics, everything, personal growth and development. I learned some fundamental things, but now that I've learned the science behind it, I can take more command. And so what happened was this, and while you're here, I said, what if I could create or help create an environment for people to experience what I experienced firsthand? All right. And this is 8 years later, because now I'm looking at this and I'm saying, wow, I could probably help somebody do in 1 to 2 years what it took me 8 to do through trial and error. And so this school was created, the Synchronistic Human School of Enlightenment. And so now we have so many opportunities to evolve. We're going to be talking a lot about evolving and transcending our consciousness. And the way we do it is by accessing the telepathic mind. That's what we're doing. So with that being said, I'm going to go ahead and move forward because I am just so excited about this information. And what I want to do is just share with you some of the fundamental things. And this is coming in a little bit distorted. Let's see if there's any more, because I could just share my screen. Okay, well, we'll move forward. We kind of tested this in the back and it's distorted, but we'll be okay. I'll paint the picture for you. Okay, but let's just go back. You know, right here, we're in a position. Let's try this here. Maybe a little bit better. No. Okay, well, we'll be fine. But I want you to get the information. You know, that's all I know is to get the information, and we're going to show you how this all works. Now, you know, just looking at the things we're teaching several classes, but for the most part, we're going to be sharing classes about the introductory level of the law of time, and we're going to be talking about the introductory level of entering the synchronic order. This is the gateway to accessing the fourth dimensional telepathic mind, but we have to understand how natural time cycles actually work. Okay, so as we move forward, I want to make this vision statement. Our vision statement is to transcend our mind deep into our cosmic memory circuits as we awaken from a deep state of amnesia in order to move from the information age into the telepathic age of our existence and establish a new world of highly telepathic beings. Let me ask you all something in this evening. If we can establish a new world of artificial intelligence, could we develop a world of highly telepathic beings that's focused on absolute intelligence? You see, the artificial came from the absolute, and sometimes we marvel at the artificial intelligence because we become so dependent on it. Well, I'm going to introduce you to some technology, some human technology that you can tap into that's far more advanced than even the artificial technology that we see. Okay? And so some of the key points here, we're going to talk about some discrepancies of the Gregorian calendar. We're going to talk about the 13 moon calendar. We're going to talk about the power of synchronicity. This is what kind of catalyzes the energy into accessing the telepathic mind. We're going to talk about cosmic memory and some of the upcoming courses, special offers, enrollment process. We'll have some closing remarks and we'll be out of here. All right. So let's talk about the Gregorian calendar. You know, it was proclaimed by Pope Gregory the 13th. Go figure. We're going to talk about the 13 moon calendar. And here we are with Pope Gregory the 13th that was able to institute the Gregorian calendar back in 1582. All right, October 4th, 1582 is when this process really started. And there were some preliminary steps because at the time was the Julian calendar. Now, I don't know at that time if they knew the things I'm going to tell you today. But here's what I know. When they put that calendar in place, they had to account for 10 days because the Julian calendar didn't account for leap years or the extra 0.25 days every year that happens on each solar cycle, each 365-day cycle. So they started the Gregorian calendar in 1582. Now, we recently did a talk back on October the 3rd, leading up to October the 4th, that was 441 years since the institution of the Gregorian calendar. Now, those of you that study with us, and some of you may be new, we're going to be able to make sure that you understand the 441 are the 441 synchronistic codes. That's a fractal of how the entire universe and the cosmos operates. This is also coined and known as the hollow mind perceiver, the whole mind perceiving through cosmic energy and light, through your brain and through your experience, through your perception. Okay, so when we become aware of something, awareness is the key to change. Okay, so when we look at the meanings of the 12 months, right? Once I might ruin some of y'all's New Year's celebrations, but it's okay. We're gonna have some other things to celebrate. But what I want to do is share some light on a few things that's very powerful. The Gregorian calendar, let's look at January. January is the god of the doorway. Okay. In January, in the northern hemisphere, in January, it's wintertime, right? So we're going to initiate something in wintertime. February is obscure reference to a type of entrails used in a form of divination. March is named after Mars, the god of war. April and May are named after obscure floral goddesses of the springtime. June is named after Juno, the wife of Jupiter. July is named after Julius Caesar. August is named after Augustus Caesar. Check this out. Augustus used the month called sextile, which means 6. And Augustus Caesar figured out that if Julius had a month named after him, look at this patriarchy, y'all, then Augustus also wanted a month named after himself. Wow. So he changed sextile to August. And at that time, it only had 30 days. Well, February had 29. So he took the 29th day from February and added it to August so it could have 31, just like Julius did in July. Now, think about that. Now, this is a worldwide calendar that we're following. And you got two cousins that are going, or brothers, cousins, whatever they are, going at each other, trying to be able to match one another in days of the month, not thinking about how it affects consciousness, or maybe they had a roundtable meeting that we hadn't known about yet to disrupt our consciousness and initiate capitalism and the onset of artificial intelligence. Septa means 7, but it's the 9th month. October means 8, but it's the 10th month. So why are we following this calendar? It has no link to the cosmos except for the year cycles. And there's so many other cycles. I'm going to share some of them with you. And it could clearly disrupt the female cycle, who has 13 cycles that are 28 days each year. Okay, so the key to this is to understand nobody has ever thought about questioning the calendar. Nobody has ever thought about questioning the consciousness lock, the clock. And so this is why I was so blown away when I heard about this, because I said, what if there is something here where we're able to take this and advance our consciousness in a way that we're able to tap into dimensions that were supposed to be held secrets to us, tap into chambers of the mind that were supposed to be secrets to us. And this is the key to enlightenment and the key to us getting free from this artificial matrix or mechanical world that we seem to be trapped in from many different angles. What if, right? So when I said there's only one way to find out, and in finding out, I'm so glad that I took the time and studied feverishly and practiced and did all these things. And now I can share with you evidence that not only is this disrupt systemic programming, but it also advances us in ways I couldn't imagine. And that's why I'm here sharing this powerful information with you today. All right, so now we hear about this. So the cycle that we want to work with is the 13 moon 28-day cycle. Now, some people will say, well, what does this have to do with telepathy? Everything, because cosmic cycle, we're tapping into a telepathic medium, and we can't do it consistently if we're disrupted by irregular calendars and consciousness locks that keeps us blocking the cosmic energy from being able to tap into it. All right. So the true measure, what we realize is the moon has a mean average of 28 days. And if you multiply 28 times 13, you get 364 days. And then there's 1 day out of time and everything resets itself. Now, anything that I talk about and how I know this is real is that I can find anything that I talk about that's cosmic, that's telepathic. I can show you where it is in the body. So this clearly is the female reproductive system that when normal, the menstruation cycle is supposed to be 28 days each. So what do you think would happen if the women, the female, the divine feminine energy, fully aligned with this, fully dedicated to this, and they were able to access the peak of their creativity? What do you think would happen to how things operate? What do you think would happen to patriarchy? What do you think would happen? Let me tell you, we would all become synchronistic humans. That means we will become multi-dimensional. We wouldn't be just limited to a male aspect or a female aspect. Last time I checked, we have 23 chromosomes from my mother and 23 from our father. And you put that together and you get divinity in nature. And so now we can be, know, or do everything. It's about balance. And right now we're dealing with a tremendous imbalance. And you can look at the screen and you can see the inconsistent weeks and months of the Gregorian calendar. And if you look at the right, everything looks even. And guess what? When things are even, energy flows where attention goes. You can put your attention on something, and then if you have a bunch of blockages like a pinball machine, you won't be able to access the energy to carry you into higher states of consciousness on a consistent basis, unless you completely isolate yourself from every distraction. And that's very hard to do in the world or the matrix that we live in. Okay. The fourth dimensional timing gauge is based on 13 times 20, right? 1320 timing frequency, 13 tones and 20 dynamic frequencies of light. We call them archetypes, right? So when we look at this, you see all the different, this is what it looks like, right? The 13 different stages. These are lunar cycles. Lunar cycles are 28 days each. Okay. And so if we coordinate the 13 moon 28-day pattern plus the 365th day out of time with the 260-day pattern, it takes 52 years. Now, the 260-day cycle we call the Zolkin, right? It really measures the gestation period from when we incarnated or from we were conceived to when we incarnated. Okay. And that's 260 days. And it's very powerful because that calendar, it brings us on a journey of remembrance. It brings us into a 260-day cycle that helps us access our cosmic memory. I'm going to read this on the screen. I know it may be a little jagged for you, but don't worry. I'm going to clean it up. I'm going to clear it up and all that. Here's what it says. The 13 moon calendar is an evolutionary tool to assist humanity in the unprecedented act of uniting itself on one central issue to its complete well-being, and that's time. The harmonic convergence of humanity is on this one issue, combined with the inescapable order, perfection, and simplicity of following the 13 moon calendar. Watch this, will lift the species as a simultaneous whole into the galactic timing frequency of 1320. So there's the artificial time and frequency that blocks us from telepathic knowing, extrasensory abilities, and that's the 1260 frequency. That's dealing with the 12-month calendar and the 60-minute clock. The two of them together help us live our lives through our feelings and our emotions, and that's what we're supposed to transcend into a more spiritual and beautiful place in space. Okay? So let's talk about when this calendar officially began as it relates to the law of time. All right, the calendar began in 1987. Okay, it officially began, and it corresponds with the heliacal arising of Sirius. Sirius is a neighboring star that's more than twice the size as our sun. And there's two, there's Sirius A and Sirius B. And Sirius B revolves around Sirius A. And the energy from that revolving around each other is transmitted into the galaxy that we're in. Now, to those who are energy and light aware, that they're aware of the energy and light part of their body, the Akasha, the G-force, they are able to understand how that is intelligence, that is consciousness coming at us to help the body or the human, the sentient being evolve. This is why we're told about different eclipses and things of that nature. So when 2012 happened, this star Sirius and our sun were the closest it ever had been in 26,000 years. Now think about that. In 26,000 years, this is the closest that these two have been together. Now, I like to think that these two energies were communicating, right? Energetically and light-wise, and transmitting this into the consciousness of the galaxy, which when we're talking about telepathy, we're able, those of us that are removed of blockages are able to tap into this telepathic medium, and it can take our mind or our consciousness or our brain processes it and can take us many places. It can open up many corridors in the mind. Now, I would tell you that the brain and the mind are different. The brain is the instrument that processes consciousness, and the mind is what the consciousness that the brain processes accesses. Okay, so when we know that, now we can condition our mind for something different. I want you to write this down. Okay, I want you to write this down. The mind doesn't experience anything it isn't already conditioned for. So if you're having struggles right now, you were already conditioned for that struggle through the mind before you experience that struggle. So there's no need to get upset now that I'm telling you what I'm telling you. If you don't like what your mind has been conditioned for, we can condition it for something else. I decided to condition my mind for evolution. Why? Because I said, if I evolve, then I become bigger than my circumstances, bigger than what's happening in the world that is distracting us from being the enlightened beings that we are. And so therefore, I don't have to be impeded with the progress of where I'm going, because I'm looking beyond. I'm evolving. I'm not revolving. I'm evolving. And that's been the story over the last 8 years. All right. Now we're going into overdrive. This is why this is the perfect time for you to be seeing this. So it's in sync with the 13 galactic tones of creation. It synchronizes this 13 moon calendar. All other calendars, or most other calendars, considered a synchronometer, an instrument of synchronicity. Now, all of this is important because nature and the power of synchronicity works on our behold every day, just like the grass, just like the trees, the animals. They have instincts. They don't have clocks and watches. They don't have cancers and some of these things unless they're being bred by humans. So the truth is, as we look into this, we're going to talk about time and what time represents. So the truth is that time is the fourth dimension. And time is energy factored by time. Let's call time the evolution of consciousness equals art. What does that mean in layman terms? Time is measured by what we create. Not what we do, but what we create. We're not human doings, we're human beings. We're being human, but we're also being a spiritual being. We're also being an energetic and light being. And as we synchronize all these beings, we can manifest at will. We can access corridors of our mind through our brain that allows us to access the telepathic channel, where we can communicate with each other through this medium. But we can't do it if we're so locked in to this device. Locked into this device. Yes, it's an instrument that supports what we're doing, but it has to be the exception and not the rule. All right. So there's 13 of these moons per year, 28 days each, and each moon has an animal totem. The indigenous studied the animals, and it's energetically charged with the cosmic tone of creation. All right. And then there's one day out of time, and that's July 25th. Now, a lot of people ask, why do you start the calendar in July? We call it the dog days of summer. Now, that came from the Dogon tribe in Mali, West Africa. Why is that important? Because star Sirius and Sirius A and Sirius B is the brightest in the sky at that time of year than any other time of year. So July 26th starts the beginning of what they call the Lion's Gate, right? All the way up until 8/8 on August 8th, right? So that's 13 days from the 26th to August 8th. And that's when the gate is open for the beam, the new beam of Sirius A and Sirius B to beam down into our consciousness and charge us for the new year, the new solar cycle. Okay? So that's what's going on here. All right. So now there's another equation. I want you to see something else that T plus E, or the law of time, is operating with. And quite honestly, I think that females naturally operate this way, but we're fitting them into a patriarchal box. We're trying to fit 13 cycles into 12 months. And so it's no wonder that there's irregular cycles and there's fibroids and all these different issues going on with the universal uterus of the female. Okay, so now here's a way to undo that. Anything that can be tied up can be untied. The law of time states that energy factored by time equals art. In this equation, E equals all the phenomena in their processes of unfoldment, and T is the present moment. The only time is now, right? Functioning according to the ratio of 1320, which is how natural time cycles, the frequency of natural time. Everything is shaped by art. Let's talk about what synchronicity is and what it refers to. Well, synchronicity refers to the underlying cosmic intelligence that synchronizes people, places, and events into a meaningful order. Everybody is in perfect position. In your reality, say, the perception is in the eye of the beholder. And so, what is the eye, or what is the holder of the eye? How do you see yourself is important before you can perceive what you're going to perceive. We experience synchronicity when an outer event corresponds to our inner thoughts, perceptions, and/or feelings. Look at that. So synchronicity is like taking 2 or 3 seemingly unrelated incidences, and you see it working on your beholder. Say, whoa, that's interesting. What a coincidence. You know, I wouldn't have thought that happened, but that happened. So think about the power in what it is that I'm saying. That synchronicity isn't a miracle. Synchronicity is the norm in the 4th dimension. And that's what I'm bringing to the psyche of so many people. So what? We all can evolve and stop complaining about the things that are keeping us back in the artificial matrix, locked in time, artificial mind. All right. And so what is a synchronistic human? Define. So we're evolving to this right now. So we can be telepathic. So we can be extrasensory. So we can be many things, and we can be no things. We can disappear. Right? So synchronistic human defined as someone who is able to be multidimensional while unifying energy from the synchronicities of natural time cycles towards the holonomic evolution of humanity, Mother Earth, and the galactic whole. Let me tell you something about this word, holonomic. It's a word most people are not familiar with, and I wasn't familiar with when I first started studying this. But here's what I'm going to share with you. Holonomic comes from the law of holonomy, which means we are systems inside of larger systems. So just like our blood cells are part of the circulatory system, the circulatory system is part of the body. The blood cells, with no reference to the body, say, I'm not part of this body. Well, what happens? They become misaligned, or they become malignant. And we know the trajectory of a malignant cell when it's not aligned with the source that created it. It dies, right? Malignant, right? It multiplies and dies, right? The body's part of the biosphere of the earth. The earth is part of the solar system. Solar system part of the universe part of the multiverse. So we're evolving from the information age into the age of the synchronistic human. Right now, as we speak, for the last 8 years, even longer than that, I'm just aware of it for the last 8 years. And some of you might be hearing this for the first or second time. You're like, wow, that's deep. That's far out. Well, maybe it is deep right now, but keep studying it, and you'll remember that this is your nature, because we're on a journey of remembrance right now as we speak. All right. So we're synchronizing these cycles into the mind to open up the 4th dimensional telepathic channel so that we can receive transmissions from entities beyond this plane of existence. So you and I could communicate mind to mind. So if the grid goes out and we have an EMP and all of the electronic devices go out, we're going to be the only ones that ain't panicking, because we're going to be able to read each other's mind. We're going to be able to send each other's messages. And we are already doing it. I started a telepathic group almost a year ago called the Telepathic Remembrance Group. And we started practicing remote viewing, retrocognition, where we time travel back in the past, precognition, and mind-to-mind telepathy. And we're going to be doing that again, actually, here within a week. We're going to be doing another round of it for those individuals that are gifted like this. So what's powerful? How big is that? I'll choose me over device any day. I'll take both of them, because I can use the device to serve me. But in synchronizing this into the mind, the perception, the eye of the beholder who perceives changes. And now you see yourself beyond the body. You may see yourself as the earth and think with earth consciousness and think for the benefit of all the species on the planet. That's the ultimate compassion, right? So as we integrate this in, I have a picture here of the Dogon drawing the solar system in the sand. Think about that. They're drawing the solar system in the sand. But wait a second. How did they draw the solar system in the sand when they didn't have a telescope? Aha. The indigenous was studying this and became aware of this by using some of the same techniques that I'm talking about. Calendrical systems, and they were able to time travel and go into their mind and see this and put it on the walls, and nobody to this day knows how they did it. The little star Sirius B was seen for the first time in 1982 with the largest telescope at that time. But the African tribe Dogons had all the knowledge about this star from thousands of years ago. They even knew the existence of the Milky Way and that it had a spiral-like shape. They knew that before telescopes. How did they do it? Through telepathy, through their mind, and became very sophisticated from it. All right, let's look at the next one. The Olmecs, or the She people, Xi people, She people. Here you see these big stone carved heads of the original Mexicans, the She people, who built the pyramids in Mesoamerica and are the descendants or the ancestors of the Galactic Maya. All right. And so these individuals, they left and literally through telepathy disappeared. There's some people that say they're here, they're everywhere, but they disappeared and they left the evidence, right, that they were there long before Columbus had came and discovered so-called America. There was already indigenous people here. We can go on talk after talk, book after book that shows evidence of this. But what were they here doing? They were studying nature. They were studying cosmic cycles. Okay. And they were accessing different parts. And as I have followed some of those traditions, I can see in my mind so much grander than I could prior to that. All right. Let's look at the Galactic Maya. The Galactic Maya, they took what the Olmecs were doing and they took it to another level. They started following up to 17 different calendrical systems. They're called the Galactic Maya because they was able to receive transmissions from extraterrestrials and these type of things. And they were able to open up their minds in ways others couldn't. Okay. And so they left some of these codes. And these are some of the hieroglyphs that I was able to decode. These are some of the detailed coded things that I was able to tap into. And I had no clue that I was doing. I was just doing it with ease. And I had no clue what I was doing until somebody told me, do you understand what you're doing? Now, I know you in this brain balancing stuff, but we brain balancing too. But how are you able to do that? Because I've been brain balancing longer than you, and you able to decode this. How are you able to do that? Well, I don't know exactly. What I do know is while I was brain balancing, I was studying this material I'm sharing with you feverishly. And as a result, it opened up my mind in ways I can't explain. Okay. And now I can do things with my mind I never could do before. Higher learning, higher institutes of learning didn't teach me that. And not going to teach us that, because their idea is to govern our mental, right? That's what's happening. And so now we're sitting here under the sun, under the light, receiving downloads and instructions from the fifth dimension, the energy, the electricity and light that started this whole cosmos into motion. And as beings, we can tap into that medium. And we can now do things that we couldn't do before. And what's significant about that? Well, telepathy makes everything go faster. Let me give you an example. Telepathy is said to be faster than the speed of light. When I found out that the speed of light was 299 million kilometers per second, I said, wow, so you're telling me telepathy and thought is faster than that? The speed of light and the speed of sound together. I need to try some of this out. So what it did is it restored my faith in crazy ways, because I said, all I need is breath in my body in 1 second, and I can go to the other end of this entire cosmos and get what I need and come back before you even know anything was wrong with me. And it's not just for me, it's for everyone, because we all have a memory. Do you know that scientists say that we have over 100 plus million years of memory stored in our cerebellum? Did you know that? I would guess we're not even using 100 of those 100 million years of memory, because we're so inundated and engulfed into the device that tells us everything. Our critical thinking skills are shot. But guess what? What if we were using 200 or 500 or 1,000 years? Would it change what we focus on? Absolutely. And the plus means infinity, that there's no limit. That's why I didn't put a number after plus. For an equation, it's unlimited, it's endless, and it's timeless. So what if we could really do that? Now, I'd rather evolve into that or even try it than to keep doing what I know ain't gonna work. And that's the feedback loop, revolving and having revolutions. And this group has power and this group is weak. And then now this group is powerful and the other group is weak. Let's just evolve way beyond that and get out of the cycles and the cyclical natures, because it's going to make us sick, and it has made us sick. Right? So now we're sitting there thinking, how do I take advantage of what you're talking about? Well, I'm going to introduce to you some of the courses that we have. Now, we didn't just start these courses. This is the 17th consecutive semester. We can say 17th and a half. All right. Semester. We just went to a quarterly system. Okay. And now we can help people go through this process much faster than I did. If you're able to look up on the screen and see the different classes. Now, you can't take them all today. Like, that's what I would have wanted to do. I'm like, give me all of them, right? But the two we're going to focus on is the Law of Time, Basic 100, and the Hollow Mind Perceiver, HMP 421, okay? The other classes, we have people on the line and people that's not on the line that have already taken some of the preliminary classes, and they're advanced. They're going to the advanced levels, the advanced levels of HMP 423 to 428. The advanced level being in the telepathic remembrance group. Okay. This has already been established. All right. But this is what we're going to focus on. Now, let me talk to you about the two classes I want to focus with all the people. For those of you that are looking at this for the first time, or you're new to this and hadn't taken any classes, I want to just share with you some of the things that we have in place. All right, this first class, let's go ahead and blow it up here. All right, is the LOT 100. All right, so it's a hybrid. It's part self-study and part live online course. And it's the psychological view of the law of time as a multidimensional being. So this is being taught from a different perspective than what's being taught at Yale and Harvard and HBCUs, because it's a fourth dimensional mind talking to you. And that just means that we've considered that there's been an era in time, and the true nature of time is to evolve consciousness and create, or to produce art, which is a creation. All right, so this particular class is gonna, the student portal is going to open tomorrow, the 29th, and it's going to end on January the 16th. There's two live sessions on the 16th of December, 1, and the 6th of January, 2. Now, This is an incredible class. Even if you already took the law of time, most of the time it's been taught from a historical and an intellectual perception or perspective. And the key to this is to understand that that will give us the information, but it won't necessarily tell us how to use it and integrate it into our day-to-day experience. So I use a psychological approach to help move you out of where you are and into using this to get you to where you want to be. Psychology does that. Psychology and discipline. All right. So this is an incredible class. We just introduced this class back in the springtime of this year, and it got rave reviews. And now we're introducing it again, and people have been anticipating it. And we even made a level 2 for those people that already took this. But for those of you who are new, this is something you definitely want to put on your radar. The 2 assistant instructors is what I call law of time enthusiasts. Mr. Chester Starks, who's also kin number 173, the red self-existing Skywalker. And then we have Patrick Halford, who is kin 236, the yellow lunar warrior. And they both have helped teach this and have taught it before. And they'll be assisting me with the class to help make this the best experience that you can have with this particular class. All right. Let's talk about what this course offers. Okay. This course offers, and I'm telling you, I just get so excited about it, a psychological approach to the law of time as an evolutionary tool for humanity. In addition, you will learn how to effectively integrate into your daily lives the 13 moon calendar, the 260 days sacred spiritual Zolkin calendar. That's the one we need to spiritually advance and access our memory, y'all. And the daily destiny oracle, daily lives. These tools help us to remove psychological blockages while disrupting systemic programming in an effort to allow the laws of nature and abundance to work in our favor. Whew, that's saying a mouthful right there, right? Powerful. All right, let's go on to the next. Now we're going to talk about the Hollow Mind Perceiver, H&P 421, level 1 out of 21. So there's been 21 levels created to master this. And this too is going to be coming out in the winter term, November 29th. Introduction into the Synchronic Order in Telepathy, the science behind how it works, right? And so we too have the student portal. The student portal opens on December the 13th and ends on the 2 live sessions, December 13th and January the 3rd are the 2 times, right, that we have a live session. The other 4 lectures are self-study. So it's a total of 6 lectures. And so every 3rd lecture is a live lecture. So the other 2 you could do at any time during the week, each week. So you can have the flexibility to really get into it. And we found that to be very useful. All right. Also, there's 2 assistant instructors with this particular class. And I would call them Hollow Mind Perceiver enthusiasts. All right. So we have none other than Akil Abdul Sharif, who is kin 38, the white crystal mirror, and Alcione Frederick, who is kin 66, the white magnetic world bridger. Both of these individuals have taught and helped teach this material for the last 2 to 3 semesters prior to now, and have done an incredible job. They study deeply this material, and they are emphatically excited about helping those people who are doing this for the first time have the best experience like they did. And so that's why they were picked, and that's why they're doing such a great job as well. All right, so let's look at what this course offers. All right, this course actually offers an opportunity to access the cosmic mind and all of its evolutionary trajectories. The Hollow Mind Perceiver, which is a hypersense organ located in the central of the corpus callosum that facilitates the integration of time, space, and mind as a radicalized synchronization that activates the totality of our perceptual being. This is an introduction to the synchronic order. I'm going to deal with a couple of these words here. The totality of our perceptual being, radicalized synchronization of time, the evolution of consciousness, space, consciousness, and mind actually is what localizes and focalizes this energy through a vision to create that on the material plane. And so this is, it really introduces us to different ways we can evolve the mind and transcend ourselves. Very, very, very powerful stuff. Upon completion of this particular course, let's go ahead and put that in here as we're wrapping up. All right. Completion of this course, you will be able to use your extrasensory abilities. So you'll be able to actually use that more. All right, let's go back there. There we go. Extrasensory abilities. Now, I've experienced this firsthand. Other people have experienced this firsthand. You'll be more creative, more self-governing. You'll have more control over your mental focus if you follow the steps. You will influence large groups of people at one time. Find solutions to complex issues, improve health, relationships, finances, and much, much more. All right. Now, let's just look at the classes as a whole. I'm just going to flash up here what we have going on. So the student portal opens up tomorrow. Okay, and these are the different classes. Now, there's going to be some specials going on here because we're going to give $100 off to those of you that are starting, right? Those of you that are starting and you haven't taken the Law of Time or the Hollow Mind Perceiver yet, instead of $360, you're going to get the class for $260 just for being on the webinar. Okay, and you'll have until the 30th to go to the website and sign up and access the student portal. Now, don't worry, those of you that had already taken classes and you might even registered for one class, here's what we're going to do. If you already registered for one class and you want to take a second class, you're going to get half off the second class. No matter what it is on here, it's half off. All right. Some of you are ambitious and say, hey, I want to take 3 classes. Well, that's the maximum amount of classes that you could take. But if you take 3 classes, you're going to get half off of all the classes. So if you already got a class, we would just add up the 3 classes and cut it in half. And whatever the difference is from what you paid for your class, and that would be the cost for you to proceed. Okay? So that's what's going to happen there. All right? And so this is a little distorted, but let me see if I can go ahead and, okay, yeah, it's not too bad. Let's look at how we sign up. Okay, so you want to go to the website, www.synchronistichuman.com, and click on Shop Courses. Shop Courses. When you click that, you're going to choose the appropriate class or classes that you want to enroll in. Click Add to Cart. So if you're going to take 2 classes, you should have 2 in the cart. If you have 3 classes, you have 3 in the cart. If you just want 1 class, it should just be 1 in the cart. And click Payment Type. All right. Place the order. Let it process the order. And you will shortly receive the course syllabus and the schedule so you know when the live classes are and instructions to access the student portal. That's what you will receive. And so most of this is self-paced, but I'm telling you, it is so good when you can work some at your own pace and you can, be accountable to people who already have been where you are to help speed up the process for you getting to mastering this particular technique and process. All right. So this has been incredible. I hope and trust that you all have gotten as much mileage out of this as I have. I'm going to end here. You can email me at nebtaharka@synchronistichuman.com. And, if somebody would put that in the chat for me, if you know my email, and email me if you got questions. Now, right now, we're going to take some questions. I want to thank you all for watching. This was an incredible breakdown of how all this worked. We covered a lot of material, and I don't expect you to know it all from this. But anything that's difficult or challenging, by the yard is hard, but inch by inch, anything is a cinch. Anything is a cinch. All right. So with that being said and stated, I know we have a number of people on here. I want to take a few minutes and just answer some questions because I know we covered a lot. And I don't want you to leave here, uninformed, because now is the time to become part of these classes. Now is the time. If you look at what's happening in the world, with viruses and chips they're putting into people and different things, and this is the age of the cyborg. If you start doing your due diligence and seeing they're combining human and machine now, which shuts down all of your godlike faculties. Okay. And so if you're a part machine, then that means there has to be a mainframe that's controlling you. And it's just a bigger artificial piece that's controlling your consciousness in this experience. All right. So anybody got any questions? I don't see any. Let me make sure I'm looking at this right because I don't want to leave anybody out here. All right. I see my website, email. Okay. So if there are no questions, take advantage of this. Okay. And, if some come up, please email me, but don't wait, hesitate, or procrastinate. I can promise you, nobody gonna teach you how to evolve. And we can teach ourselves how to evolve, but we don't listen to our intuition a lot of times. We get confused by our feelings, how we feel. And we can influence our feelings by how we think. You see? So I like that DI versus AI. Tell me what the D is. I like the artificial intelligence versus the absolute intelligence. But I like what Kwame said here, DI versus AI. And so let's really put things in perspective so we can all evolve together. I mean, this isn't something we just started yesterday. We've been doing it 17 consecutive semesters. And I've had the liberty and the focus to do what I call one-on-one synchronicity coaching. This really helped me. And we have exceeded over 800 sessions in the last 4 years. One-on-one sessions, teaching this science one-on-one and some other skill. No, divine intelligence. Absolutely. That's right. Divine intelligence. So I'm excited about that. And I am looking forward to those of you who really want to take charge of your mind. That's what we're really talking about here. And you can definitely do it. All right. With that being said, I want to thank all of you for listening. I trust you got a lot of mileage out of this. And I look forward to seeing you evolve beyond limits that you thought you never could as we evolve and reach states of enlightenment together. With that being said, this is going to conclude our webinar. And I would say, in Lakesh, I am another you. Allah King, you are another me. Hotep, Hetepu, and Namaste. We'll see you in the classes. Bye for now. Peace.